Aliens try to use people for intergalactic fast food, but are thwarted by 4 Kiwis, who are the protectors of Earth.
And the moon.
Yeah, and the moon. This is Bad Taste on Stinker Madness.
Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. Stinker Madness. We got the Stinker Madness.
Hey guys.
Hey!
Hi Jackie. Hi Mark.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well.
Good. Mark is going to be our premier guest for this episode. Jackie and I are here as always. Lovely wife. How are you?
I'm just fabulous.
Good.
I'm going to a fancy party tonight.
This is our... Well, no, this will release after Halloween. So we're still pre-Halloween, but when people hear this, it'll be post-Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh.
I still got invited to a party. I'm not a loser.
and we really enjoyed ourselves, and it was awesome.
Yes, we're just going to say that now because it was cool.
So, yes, we just got done watching Bad Taste.
Bad Taste.
Peter Jackson's first movie. Real first release thing.
And it was definitely in bad taste.
It is.
Yes.
The title is perfect on so many levels. Because it is in poor taste. But it's fun. It's not offensive. It's just gross.
Yeah. It's like little kid toilet humor.
Yeah, there's a lot of little kid toilet.
It's like, if I was a little kid and I was making a movie, I'm like, that would so happen.
I think that it seems to me that they were... Because basically how it went down is Peter Jackson was the only guy that had any money. And so these 4 guys wanted to make a movie. And so since he was the only one that had any money, he's like, I'm going to be the director and the producer. But it seems like that they were just buddies that really loved bad, grody horror movies. And they were like, you know what? We can do better than that. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. And then they just said, let's go make it.
I wonder if those other guys that were like, fuck, man, I wish I would have had $50 for this movie because that guy went on to make the Lord of the Rings. Fuck that guy.
It's a big deal. I bet you they're probably
like, I'm still working at the chip shop.
I wonder if, actually, it would be interesting to know is if he used any of them on Lord of the Rings. Because the film shot in New Zealand.
Yes.
And obviously Lord of the Rings was shot in New Zealand.
They were all like backup guy number 3.
I think he lives in New Zealand.
Maybe they were orcs.
Yeah, maybe it could have been orcs. Who's to say? Who's to say? But I liked it. I had a really good time with Bad Taste, even though it's the second time I've seen it. I think it was a hoot and holler. Did not disappoint me.
It was definitely... It was something. So the 2 parts that I just could not... I just grossed me out as all hell. Eating the vom out of a giant bowl. I had to just cover my... I couldn't watch that entire section. I was like, that is just fucking gross. And then the spittle guy who just kept spitting all over the place and like Derek just kept drooling on shit. And I was like, oh my god, that is so fucking gross.
Yeah, but you're totally okay with aliens getting chopped in half and guts coming out.
Yeah,
and
that part
Derek
did not...
stepping on his brains.
That's fine.
Just anything that comes out of somebody's mouth is icky to you.
Bodily fluids are just gross. Except if it's just blood and guts, I can deal with that.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
The suspension of disbelief.
Yes. But people really do spit on other people, and you're like, oh, gross.
Yes.
You can get Ebola that way. Derek, close your mouth. So the movie starts out with a 911 call to the minister of, I'm guessing, New Zealand. And essentially, it's some guy freaking out about being attacked by zombies. And we're led to believe later that that phone call comes from the town of Kaihuro, which I looked up. It's in the IMDb trivia. The town of Kaihuro is a language called Maori. You guys ever heard of that?
No.
Yes. I wonder if it's like tribal...
You're a liar. You have not.
I have.
Tribal Kiwi or something.
It's a tribal language. That's the extent of my knowledge, but I have heard of it.
Well, it translates into fast food.
Into fast food?
Yeah, so the town of Kahori is actually fast food.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's a call comes into the minister he doesn't have a hand, but instead of a prosthetic or a hook, he's just got a finger on the end of his stump.
so that he can push buttons.
that he can push buttons. And then he's got a hand lighter so he can light his cigarettes.
No, it was a candle that was lit, that was in the shape of a hand, and one of the fingers was burning, and then he picked it up and used it to light a cigarette on his prosthetic finger hand that he had taken a cigarette and taken a Band-Aid and put it over the cigarette so it'd stick to the end of the finger.
Nice.
Yes. It's very hard to smoke with one finger. But, so he's like...
Beating a disability. This movie has it all.
Yep, he's handy-capable.
Handicapable.
So the minister, he seems like he knows what's going on. Like, oh, I've seen this before.
Right,
and
like
so
it happens all the time.
Instead of calling... Because he's got a speed dial phone... And instead of calling the Queen, he calls the boys.
That's right.
And the boys consist of Derek, Barry, Rick, and Ozzy.
Right.
These 4 dudes.
It's a crack team that apparently are dispersed throughout New Zealand to be able to respond to things. So that's why we've got some of them on scene and some of them on their way.
Right.
When this happens.
Right. Rick and Ozzy are on their way to Kaihoro. But we find Derek and Rick and Ozzy are on their way. Derek and Barry are already in town scoping things out, seeing what's going on. And there's nobody in Kaihoro.
Electronic devices, better known as a hand CB.
They're future CBs.
Yeah, because they can talk both ways at any time, and you don't need to press the button to do it. They just work.
And Derek's he's got hands-free calling.
That's right.
He's got Bluetooth, essentially, for his CB, because he's just got this elaborate gear setup on his shoulder.
It was a pair of Walkman headphones with shit taped to it. But at least they tried to make it look cool.
So Barry's just walking around town talking to Derek on these things, and there's nobody in Kaihoro. Like, where's everybody at? But then there's a guy with an axe. He's sneaking up on Barry, kind of sneaking up.
Walking real slow.
But Barry's like, you stop right there. This is your last chance. Just stop. The guy just keeps coming, and Barry just keeps walking away. It's a walk race.
That's right. I don't think Barry really wants him to stop either. I think he's like, I'm going to pull out this handgun and blow this guy away. So, hey, stop. He's still coming.
He's coming right for me.
Well, I like that when they get down onto the beach, the guy with the axe gets the axe stuck in the wall, and Barry's like, whew. But then the guy's like just takes the axe right out of the wall. Like he just has to turn his arms a little, and Barry's like, "Damn!" like that was really gonna thwart him, Barry. But Barry does. The guy comes up to Barry. Barry pulls out the handgun and shoots him right in the head, and his head just comes off basically. But the makeup and the effects in this movie are actually pretty solid for being such a budget film, because think about any other movie you've ever seen in your life that's gory and gross. You don't see guys with half their head missing still coming at the guy, kind of, and blood squirting everywhere. And
brains. The brains look pretty realistic. Like they just went to the butcher and got some.
Oh, yeah. They might have.
Yeah.
Who knows what those people eat.
So the brains and the prosthetic and, all that was pretty good. The blood work, though, was pretty...
the blood is pretty cheesy.
Yeah, just blood spurts everywhere, and it just looks like they punctured a water balloon or something to get that effect, or they used some sort of pressure to shoot blood everywhere, every chance they got.
Their son's water gun.
Yeah.
No, it was way more than that. It was
the super soaker.
Yeah, no, even better than that. It's like a turkey baster with the end cut off, and they just squeezed the end and shot the entire contents out.
The entire country of New Zealand's covered in icky, thick blood.
Yep.
So Barry's safe, and he just kind of shuffles the body over to the side of the road and just dumps it there.
And he hides it a little bit.
Kind of.
Behind some really tall grass.
Well, it turns out that they don't need that zombie alien because Derek's already trapped. They've already got a live one that they've got tied up on a rope that's hanging off the cliff.
That they have tied around the foot of one that they've captured.
Yeah. So Derek's up there talking to Barry, and Barry's like, oh, brother, well, I'll be up there in a second. But oh no, there's an alien zombie attack from the woodshed, and they grab Barry and stick him in the woodshed, and God knows what the hell happens in there. We just see Barry get tossed around, and his head pushes through the wall, and the wall comes apart.
And then he just kind of falls out of the barn door.
Yeah, it's like they push him out the barn door or something. But he then drops his radio and his gun. So now he's solo. He has no means of self-defense or communication.
Yeah, he went from Barry badass to Barry... Oh,
running
man.
away.
Yeah.
Very not badass.
Yeah, Barry not badass. That was really going somewhere.
Yeah, that was good, Jackie.
And then it was like...
riveting analysis.
Well, he was very badass and then not very much.
Oh,
Nice.
that was a good one.
That is pretty good. Well, then we see Derek for the first time, and the whole time we didn't realize it. We were so stupid. I don't know how we didn't catch it. But Derek is played by Peter Jackson.
Yes.
And Derek has got Robert, the alien zombie, tied up by the foot, which is also played by Peter Jackson.
Right.
so Barry or Derek and Robert are...
Aren't you going to tell them how we
Not-
got duped?
seen in the same... Oh, yeah, Peter Jackson has a beard when he's Robert. Peter Jackson does not have a beard when he's Derek.
And he has a Harry Potter scarf and glasses
Yep.
as Derek.
Yep.
That's right.
So we were a little confused.
Derek's awesome.
Derek pissed me off.
Owns this movie. He's the ultimate badass because you think he's just the most epic nerd at the beginning because he's just so dorky.
No, he was a drooler and a spitter, and it was gross.
Yeah, he's dorky. He's a
hated
complete
that guy.
goof.
He was a mouth breather.
Yeah, he's a mouth breather.
I don't like mouth breathers.
You gotta admit, he doesn't fit the archetype of the badass in the film.
Everybody knows, Justin, that when you have an elite squat team, you always have one fucking nerdo.
Squat team. These guys are the squat team, right?
Yeah, you need to have one fucking weirdo guy who's just a brainiac that's not there to serve any other purpose than logistics. Like, hey, guess what? We know that there is some aliens in a barn that's gonna grab Badass Barry. And he wasn't even good at that. Like, he couldn't even tell Badass Barry, he's up on the cliff with the binoculars, checking things out. Did see those other 10 aliens, walk along the beach
No.
and, get into this barn. What a lazy piece of shit. I mean, what's he doing up there? Mouth breathing, that's what he's doing.
Barry, you're left-handed. Oh, right. Yeah, what were those aliens doing in that woodshed? We'll just hang out in this woodshed until Barry walks by, and then we'll get him.
Well, later on in the movie, the aliens seemed pretty organized at that point, so they were doing meth? I don't know.
I don't know.
They were like, we found this sweet rock crystals in this old guy's barn.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well,
my day off today from the fast food restaurant.
well, Barry runs away, and he hides in another woodshed, basically. Apparently, the town of Kaihuro is just made out of woodsheds, because they're just everywhere. And he's ready for action. He finds a pitchfork, and he's about ready to take one of the zombie aliens down. But then he gets stuck on this, hook thing. His jacket gets stuck, and he opens the door, and he's just hanging there going, "Ah!"
And now they know where he's at.
Now they know where he's at. So he closes the door,
Gets unstuck.
but now there's a whole gang of them outside, and we come to my first favorite part of this movie, the alien zombie head battering ram technique.
Oh, yes.
That was hilarious.
They pick up one of their buddies and use his head as a battering ram to break in the woodshed where Barry's at.
That's right.
And it's pretty silly.
He's the new guy on the fast food restaurant chain.
Yeah,
He has not been trained on the fry machine, therefore he is not worth a shit.
He's mop boy.
He's like, you don't know how to use a fryer, we'll just use you.
Yep.
He has to work the graveyard shift and clean up fry grease, people grease, whatever. So Derek wants information back up on top of the hill. He wants to know what's going on. So he takes a sword of some sort and sticks it in Peter Jackson's shoe and then starts hammering on it. Well, Peter Jackson sticks the sword in Peter Jackson's shoe. I just need to stick with Derek and Robert because otherwise we'll just get too confused. So he starts hammering on Peter...
Starts hammering on himself.
On Robert, yeah, starts hammering on some foot.
And then this turned into a really grody porno movie for... oh, wait. That's not the right kind of hammering. Never mind.
Really pounding on himself.
All right. Let's be accurate. He had a bayonet, and then he was taking a little hammer and driving it into the base of his foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very slowly and taking great pleasure in it because
Yep.
he did the countdown,
Uh-huh.
and then he skipped numbers so that he could get to it quicker.
1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8.
It's true.
And then Robert, the zombie, starts howling and making this alien communication thing, apparently. So all the other zombies are like, oh shit, we gotta go help Robert. So they all grab hammers, which leads to my second favorite part of this movie. There's just a big pile of sledgehammers in this courtyard of somebody's house. And they all start grabbing hammers, except for the fry cook guy,
Battering ram.
battering ram head, who's left with, there's no more hammers except for this tiny little, like, rock
tack
hammer type thing.
Smaller than a regular hammer.
Yes.
It's a hammer, but it's a small hammer. Like, half
He
the
still
size of
grabs
a
it and
regular
he's like,
hammer.
well, I guess this is what I've got.
But it was funny because it looked like it was a regular hammer, and then he picked it up and it was like,
It's tiny.
oh, that guy's having a bad day.
So they then head after Derek. Well, Barry's like, Derek, you gotta get out of there. There's a whole group coming at you. You gotta run. And Derek says, I'm a Derek. Derek's don't run. So Derek pulls a MAC-10 out of his magical blue bag that's also able to hold swords and hammers, and
It's a Mary Poppins bag.
it's a Mary Poppins
You
bag.
just
Yeah.
reach in there and grab anything you fucking
It's
want.
bottomless.
Yeah, later on he dumps it out and all kinds of things come out of
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome.
So he's ready for action. He's got a whole MAC-10. The zombies are on their way. I don't know why he just starts firing at nobody.
He's like, oh, the zombies are going to come from this way. And then he just starts shooting.
Just shooting the ground, shooting
Shooting
trees.
a tree.
Yeah, shooting bushes. No zombies there.
Because he's a goddamn mouth breather, that's why. Hated this character.
Well, he burns through the first clip without even hitting anybody before the zombies even show up.
Yeah.
And he's left with no more ammo, but a zombie's there, and so he's like, fakes shoots the zombie, and the zombie kind of falls for it for a second. It's like, oh.
That was great.
Yeah, that was a good shot. But then he gets back into the bag, and now he's got more bullets. Which then he shoots the zombie that he
Hey,
fake
don't
shot.
forget, he
Still makes the
jumps
sound.
over a fence. A wire fence.
Yeah.
And stops the zombie. Zombie can't get over the wire fence. However, a zombie further down the line gets over the fence, and now there's a zombie on both sides of the fence, and he's screwed, you think.
Yeah. Because talk about you cannot ride the fence on that one. But
Well, before that, he's still got that first zombie coming at him that he shot. He shoots
are
through...
they zombies, though? I thought they were just aliens.
Alien zombies.
They're aliens wearing human suits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he shoots through the first one and punches his gun through the guy's guts so that he can shoot at the rest of them, which
Body shield.
awesome.
That's right, and it makes the gun like 100 times more powerful.
Yeah.
Well, then he falls off the cliff, but he grabs the rope because
Right.
they've had the fence experience, and one of the guys pushes him, but he grabs onto the rope. But Robert's not there anymore. Robert has escaped from the rope.
Frayed edge.
Yep. So Derek is out of ammo again. That's how he gets over to the rope, is the clip. He gets the clip knocked out by one of the guys with the hammers.
That gets knocked down by the rope.
Yeah.
And he spends a good 45 minutes of this movie teetering on the edge of this cliff.
And you're like, die already! I
Several
hate
times
you!
he's like, oh, he recovers. Now he's not. Oh, now he's teetering on the edge again. Now, oh nope. Now he's taking out a zombie alien guy with the blue shirt. Oh no, now he's teetering on the edge of the cliff. And then that must have been like 13 weekends of shooting. Right there.
I hated this character so much, I just wanted him to die, like, right away. And every time he got close to teetering on the cliff, I was like, yes, it's gonna happen! No! He's
I love
redeemed
Derek.
himself.
I love
And
Derek.
Derek had magical powers because he kept getting blood and bird poop and everything on his glasses and his face. And he would take either a scarf or a sleeve and he would just wipe one pass across his face and it was magically clean
gone.
again.
Yep.
Yes.
He's got the power of clean. He can also wipe his dribble away that way. Well, he finds the clip and eat lead, sucker, and shoots one of the aliens right in the arm. And the arm,
yeah, this was a good one.
The arm then flies back, gets holding a mallet, hits the other alien in the head, smashes into the alien's head, and it's so wedged in there that the other alien's arm just comes off, still holding onto the mallet, and it's just dangling.
In front of the other aliens' crushed in head.
Yeah. So they're dead. Well, Robert shows up finally and pushes Derek off the cliff. Derek finally falls to his doom. And
Yes!
He lands on the rocks. There's first the dummy, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because
The dummy in a
takes
squat
really
position.
Yeah, the dummy's sitting down like he's pooping for some reason. And then just falls down the cliff.
Tumbles off.
Ouch, ouch,
I thought it looked.
ouch.
And then he says, "Mommy," I think, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the dummy looked pretty realistic.
I like the dummy quite a bit.
Yeah.
That particular
was
dummy.
good.
There's a couple dummies in this movie. That one looked good.
Yeah.
But then he splats onto the cliff, and there's a huge splash of blood and grody-ness, and Derek is dead. Or is he?
Because then his friends were like, "Oh, poor Derek. The birds were the only ones that understood him." And then all these seagulls like flock to his body and start pecking at him. Like, yeah.
That was funny.
My fourth favorite part of this movie, we're just going in order. There's a lot of favorite parts in this movie for me. Well, there's some relief fund guy as well, driving around in a blue car, and I think he's like a scam artist.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because he fakes being a priest, and I guess his MO is he's just going to start knocking on doors and asking for charity for this fake relief fund.
But people aren't very smart because all he did was cut a piece of paper bag and put it in his shirt collar so he could look like some kind of minister.
Yeah.
I don't know a minister who wears like a really tacky orange
Polyester orange suit.
Yeah, like, and then just has like a paper thing.
Well, that's it. Was cardboard. It was white cardboard, and they're like they have for the priest's collar, and that's what he put in there.
I'm pretty sure that would not fool anybody. So maybe it was his lucky day that everybody in the town was dead.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's his lucky day at all. We find out his name eventually is Giles, but we never find out his name for a long time, so I just kept calling him Relief Fund Guy.
Yeah, that's what I didn't realize that he had a name.
Well, he finds Robert eating the brains out of the guy that Barry
Shot on the beach.
shot on the beach.
The first dead guy.
And he's got a spoon. Robert's found a spoon and some brains, and he's just going to town on the leftover remnants of Alien Zombie number 1. But, so now Robert's after Relief Fund Guy, and Relief Fund Guy's running away, gets to his car, and Robert puts his arm in the window with the sword, or the bayonet. And Relief Fund Guy rolls up the window as fast as he can, gets his arm stuck.
Well, it was traumatic rolling up the window because it didn't really work. So it was like, kind of crank the window shut.
The car wouldn't start, and the window wouldn't roll up, and
yeah, you're just thinking this guy's fucked. Serves him right for impersonating a priest.
Well, he finally gets it going, and he starts driving off with Robert in tow, whose arm is still stuck in the window.
Yeah, and he's got the car floored, and it's not going very fast. And Robert's kind of shuffling alongside of the car, beating on the car, trying to get in.
Trying to open the door. But finally he realizes the parking brake is on, and then just drives off.
Yep, that was funny.
I thought for sure Robert's hand was coming off.
Yeah, I was waiting for that arm to come off. But
I was
Robert
too.
managed to get his arm out of the window before he pulled the emergency brake, so he got to drive away, and
Robert was okay.
yep.
Well, Relief Fund Guy doesn't go very far.
Yeah, because instead of driving out of town away from the madness, he sees a giant house and stops to ask for help. Mm-hmm. Because that's what you do when you were just attacked by a guy who was eating brains with a spoon out of another guy's head.
I need help. I could clearly get away right now, but I must stop at this house and ask for help.
Right.
Well, the house...
Well, he ran up there with this relief bag. So maybe he was like, I'm going to get a donation.
I gotta pay for this trip. I can't come all this way and not get any money.
Yeah, like, I'm going to get a donation and I'm going to get the cops here.
I'm upside down on this whole business.
He's like, do you know how much those little flyers cost to send around to everybody in this stupid-ass village?
In the town of fast food. Well, he knocks on the door and the cook guy comes out and brains him with like a mallet, like a food mallet, one of those wooden hammer things that you pound. Meat tenderizer, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So Barry sees this all go down though from a distance. Barry knows there's some shit in this house. There's some shit going on in there. We got to figure out what's going on. Well, the next thing you see is the Relief Fund Guy is in soup. He's in a vat of water and vegetables and
apple taped into his mouth.
11 secret spices and herbs. That's what we're told.
KFC?
Yeah, I think so.
That's exactly what it made me think of.
Yeah.
Don't they have the 11? Okay.
They've got him marinating, basically, and they tell him as much. They're like, we haven't had a chance to eat human, which you'd think they would because they've slaughtered the entire town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it all fit into like 6 boxes.
Right, because you trim the fat.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can pile up people in very small amounts of... I wonder if they just had a hard time getting cardboard boxes for that shot. And they're like, fuck it, we'll just explain it this way. We've only got 6 cardboard boxes and I'm tired of looking for them, so we'll just do this. Well, then Robert slices his own throat, because apparently Robert's a dum-dum. I think Robert is a dum-dum.
He is. He's an idiot.
I think
well,
he's
yeah,
the
because
idiot
the
of
cook makes the we're going to slit
we're
your
gonna-
throat in the morning, and then Robert's still holding the bayonet, makes the same motion, and blood shoots across and hits Relief Fund guy in the face.
There's lots of blood getting hit in the
Because
face.
that's what happens in this movie. Anytime there's any blood at all in any amount, it flies through the air and gets somebody in the face.
Yep, absolutely.
It's important.
Well, then we find out that Derek is okay.
And how do we find this out? Well, he gets up and he headbutts a seagull.
Did you not like Derek? He headbutted a seagull.
And then we learn that the reason he's still alive is because this nice family of seagulls who had their nest up there with some baby eggs on this on this rock.
Is there nice seagulls?
Yes, they were a nice family of seagulls, and he's killed them all by landing on them.
They cushioned his fall.
That's right.
Thank God for seagulls.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hate this guy so much.
Derek.
And then when he came back, I was like, oh, God damn it.
Well, his brains are out. He must have
Yeah.
He must have banged his head on a rock or something.
He's
Because
got
his
a-
head's come
A
apart.
wedge of the back of his skull has come out and his brains are on the ground. And then what happens?
He picks him up and puts him back in.
Yeah, he seems like he's losing consciousness, can't function properly, but as soon as he puts the wedge back firmly against his skull, he's fine.
Yeah.
As long it's like some sort of
leftover brains.
power. I thought he was an alien zombie at this point because they didn't really explain that until later on that they're just aliens that look like humans currently. I didn't know if they were taking over. Who knows? And so they never really did explain how a person can walk around with part of their brain missing in the rest of this movie. But
Suspension of disbelief.
thank goodness they did, because the movie would not have been the movie had it not had Derek walking around with things holding his head back together.
Well, if you
This
need...
movie would have been better had Derek not survived.
Screw that, dude. Derek rules.
He should have headbutted the seagull, and then that should have been his last shot. Because
Without Derek, those alien bastards would have come back.
that's right.
Yeah.
He did say bastard a lot in this movie. That was kind of his line.
Yeah.
Bastard!
Well, they made his brains come out.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed too.
So he picked up this little section of his brain that kind of looked like a nutsack, put it in the back of his head,
It did look like a nutsack. It was gross.
and then he was walking around with his hand on the back of the head, keeping the brains in, and he found a top hat, which I told you, he's Frosty the Magical Snowman at this point. Puts the top hat on to hold his brains in, and he's good to go. But I think we need to take a time out here and go backwards a little bit in time, because
Okay.
the other two members of the team, we haven't been talking about them.
Rick and Ozzy.
Who are spending the first part of the movie driving their badass car, listening to heavy metal music to the scene of the crime.
That's right.
Yep.
Did you guys catch something when we first see them and they're doing the heavy metal thing? Was there a guy in the back seat?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
I thought that there was 3 guys in the car at first, and then all of a sudden it's just Rick and Ozzy.
That's because that other guy, he got a weekend job at a restaurant, and he wasn't going to be available. So like, fuck that guy.
I think so. I
We
think
already
there
shot
was
that
a lot
part,
of that.
though, so-
Because Barry disappears for about 40 minutes of this film. Basically, the whole house shootout, Barry's not there at all.
Right.
Barry's wife was probably like, I've had it.
Yeah.
4 years of this weekend shooting shit.
No more!
No more.
And he's like, we're almost done, please. I've got to... And then he's like, my grandma's sick for the next 4 weeks. And
I need to go take care of her. Wife?
Probably.
And then he just went and finished the film. Probably something like that.
Anyway, so what kind of car was this?
It's a Ford Falcon.
That's right.
We don't get them in the
was
United States.
badass.
They are badass.
Yeah, and so they had these big giant speakers in the back seat, and they were playing heavy metal music.
That's right. There's not a guy in the backseat. The speakers were back there.
Right.
are you having a Derek moment?
Initially, Derek's trying to get a hold of him. He can't because they have the music too loud. And then they have that whole two-way communication without actually pressing the buttons on the CB.
That's right.
Because, Derek calls him and can't get a response, but then the music that they're listening to comes over the CB magically somehow. And it's foreshadowing, I think. Anyway.
That these guys kick ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because one's got a mullet and the other one's got, shaggy hair. And they've
Richard
got a
Simmons hair.
Yeah.
gun full or a car full of guns. And
biceps. Don't forget biceps.
Yeah.
That's right.
Biceps and a tank top.
Anyway, so they basically show up to the town and begin to look for the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens?
Well, Barry tells them about the bad house
That's right, on the hill.
on the hill, and that they got to go in there so they get locked and loaded, and
Right.
they're on their way.
Well, don't they all show up and tried to find Derek at some point, and then like, oh, he's a badass. He took out all these alien zombies, but he died, and they're all sad. And then they just don't even recover the body. They just leave.
No, just leave him.
Fuck that guy.
Screw Derek.
He was a mouth breather.
Yeah, he was a mouth breather. We can find another Derek. There's no replacing Derek.
Oh, there is.
So they get
anybody who's not a mouth breather and a drooler. Ugh.
Yeah. So flash forward, Derek's getting his shit together, and then they're at the house.
Right. We then learn that there are the sole protectors of Earth and the Moon.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the moon's important because
It's made of cheese, man. You got to keep that cheese coming.
that's part of their jurisdiction, and that's how they get that 50-cent pay increase.
I would like to see Bad Taste 2 on the moon. I wonder what they do on the moon.
Does that Falcon turn into a spaceship and they just...
If there's an emergency on the moon, how do you guys deal with that? I want to know. So they go into the house, and they're ready to see what's going on in there and get Relief Fund guy. They're gonna go. It's a rescue mission at this point, and I guess they think that that's where the alien zombies are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Barry was like, "This is their headquarters or something."
Yeah,
he's pretty sure, but he's not entirely sure. That's why they're investigating.
Well, at this point, do you think he made the connection that all of the aliens are wearing blue long sleeve dress shirts?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They look like they are working the Jack in the Box.
In jeans.
Yeah.
In jeans. It's their uniform.
Well,
some of them get sun hats, though.
True.
They go into the kitchen, and we come to my fifth favorite part of this movie, which is there's blood all over the kitchen, and they're slipping around on it, and Barry's like, we gotta clean this up before somebody gets hurt. So he grabs a mop and starts mopping it up, and then one of the zombies come in, and he's holding a bowl, and sees them, and they get in a big action fight, lots of diving and ninja punches and crazy shit, and then Ozzy lands on the guy's shoulders and pulls his head off, and blood's going everywhere, and
his spinal cord is like doing this weird fish thing where it's still
flopping.
alive, it's flopping around. Like
that was a great effect.
Part of that fight scene that I really enjoyed, though, is the first punch that hits the zombie guy in the face. He throws the bowl up in the air, and Ozzy catches it, so it doesn't make noise.
Super quiet. It's like the quietest fight scene of all time.
That's right.
And Barry's like, there's blood everywhere. He's like, oh, I just cleaned that spot.
He was so mad.
Yeah, good time. So now that they can hear what's going on out in the main foyer, because the chief alien is giving a speech to his minions about how they're harvesting these people for their intergalactic food chain called Crumb's Country Delights, and
which has recently slipped from being number one behind. What's the other one?
I don't know. I didn't catch it.
Yeah, there was like CRO or something like that.
Yeah.
The other fast food chain. So they're going to get back on top by serving people.
Yeah,
that's right.
The taste of the new generation is human meat.
Right.
Homo sapiens, and they've got a supply of 4 billion. At this time, there's only 4 billion people, which is amazing that we have twice as many people on Earth now since 1984, whenever this film was made.
But don't forget, he goes through the whole menu too about what they're going to serve.
Oh, I meant to look that up. What was on the menu because I didn't catch it all.
And I could not follow him what he was saying.
No, he was going too fast.
Yeah,
I bet you it was pretty funny.
But it was like a whole menu of stuff, and I kept laughing, so I like missed every other one, and I was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. So now they know the plan, that people are part of an intergalactic fast food chain. And
right, because one of the guys had put on the fast food shirt.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And went out with the bowl.
Rick puts on the blue shirt and goes out and hides with them.
Blends.
Yeah,
blends in.
They're like, here, he was carrying this bowl, so he takes it with him, and he's holding the bowl, and he's listening to... Basically, it's a team meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When large corporations meetings are important because none of us are as dumb as all of us.
That's right. At least one person's going to listen to one section of what you've said, and between the 12 or 600 people that are standing in there, they'll put together some message.
Yep, and so all the aliens are standing there, and they look like zombies. They're all just kind of dazed and confused and weaving back and forth, which if you've been involved in corporate America...
It's very similar.
That's any meeting.
Yeah.
That's any meeting at all.
When your boss starts talking about synergy, you just tune out.
You're like, there's no bonding here, okay? I want to get off this shithole planet. You didn't have to trim all these fat people down to get them into 6 boxes. Fuck you, guy. Like,
Using my head as a battering ram was not in the job job description. This job sucks.
And they're all standing there like, we've already processed this town. Let's just go.
I wonder if all the blue shirts were like teenage aliens.
Probably.
Like they are here.
Yeah.
That work at fast food places.
Yeah. Pizza faced.
Maybe that's why they were all like in really low light, because they were like, oh man, we can't show all these ugly pizza face kids that we paid $5 to stand in here for the
Well,
afternoon.
no, when they're wearing the human disguise, they're adult males. But when they transform into aliens, I wonder if they were actually teenager aliens.
Possibly.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah, harvesting people, using their own heads as battering rams.
So, in this scene, the main corporate guy that's the manager, leader, or whatever,
Crumb.
he's
Lord
wearing
Crumb.
a suit. He's the only one that doesn't wear a blue shirt. And that's important later on when they transform. Because then you can tell them apart.
Yeah, exactly. So Robert shows up, and we come to Jackie's favorite part of the movie.
Oh, the part I could not watch after it
Rick's
started
standing
happening.
there holding the bowl, not knowing what's going on, and
They just kind of push him forward. Like,
yeah.
Here. Oh yeah, you got the bowl.
You've
Push
got
him
the
forward.
bowl. So Rick gives the bowl to Lord Crumb, and Robert comes up and then just starts puking green stuff into the bowl, like lots of it. Fills the whole bowl up with green puke, which we looked up. The puke is yogurt and masuli with green food coloring.
Yeah. It basically looked like green Jell-O and whipped cream mixed together with some...
Lucky Charms sprinkled on top.
Yeah, exactly.
Marshmallows.
It was fucking gross looking.
Just looked like...
And then they all start eating it, like
yeah.
yum, 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 yum.
They drank it one at a time.
Oh.
They passed the bowl. And
Lovely bouquet, Robert.
Yeah, and I was like, and I just had to put the blanket up so I couldn't see the TV because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna Ralph. That is so damn gross.
And what's his name doesn't want any of it either. So
No,
he
Rick
keeps-
just keeps scooting down the line so he doesn't have to drink the puke. Otherwise, they're going to know that he's not one of them.
Right, but finally the bowl catches up, and Rick is thrusting his hands, and he's got it, and they're all staring at him, and so, of course, he takes a small little drink, and he has this disgusted look on his face, and he swallows it, and then his expression changes, and he immediately takes another
pretty
big
good.
swig of it.
The rest of them are kind of like, no, give us back the bowl.
And everybody else is like, you prick, we only took one drink, and you took two.
Yeah, what makes you so fucking special? By the way, your shirt's looking way too tight, fatty.
Yeah, because it's on top of his body armor.
Yeah, so the shirt's like bulging out everywhere, like the buttons are barely together.
But they don't catch on.
No, they don't catch on, and he goes back into the kitchen with
Because
Ozzy
they're
and
fast
Barry.
food workers.
Yeah.
They're not smart.
They are not smart. And so Rick gives a great line. He doesn't, but he says, "You have no idea what I had to do." And Ozzy goes, "Did you have to drink a bowl of Chuck?"
Yeah, that was funny.
Pretty good line.
And then I started watching again.
Yeah, the puke was all over.
And then shortly later, here comes stupid ass Derek,
I'm not real sure.
spittling everywhere, being all fucking gross.
I want to talk about the puke for just a little bit more.
No!
What was the point?
Team building.
Anytime you have a meeting, you have a snack.
Well, why
That's
can't...
true. You have to provide food.
If Robert is the puke creator, like if he's the cheap puke creator, why can't they just don't create their own puke? If that's what like aliens can do, create yummy puke.
There's nothing in the movie that explains that scene.
No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. Everybody enjoy the punch while we're here.
That was somebody who went to a family reunion. Their grandma made this stuff, and they were like, we're going to use this in our movie.
Robert ate lots of yogurt this weekend, so it should be tasty. Great plumage. Okay, so Derek, what were you going to say about Derek?
Shortly after the puke scene, when I'm all grossed out anyway, he comes back, and he's just like looking for a gun. Like he's got the top hat on, he's passed out, he wakes up.
Well, a bird shits on his face.
Yeah, Bert shits on his face and wakes him up, which is fucking gross.
Magically wipes it off.
Magically wipes it off.
Goes to the car and gets in the special secret compartment in the back that he punches his PIN number in. So now I'm like, okay, maybe he's not an alien, or, part of his brain's gone, but he still can remember the PIN number to the code to open up
Which
the
is a
secret hatch.
Casio calculator. Which
Was
is
it?
awesome, yes. It was a Casio
Nice.
calculator.
And it opens it up and you're like, oh, this must be some super badass thing. And what's in there? A can of petrol and a chainsaw.
You guys are
Wrapped
way,
in velvet.
way,
Or silk or something. Like it was all set in there like, oh, holy.
way ahead.
Oh, we are?
Like miles ahead.
Oh, okay. I'm
First, Ozzy, Rick, and Barry find the relief fund guy,
Oh, that's right.
and they
Oh,
get
yeah.
I forgot about
they
it.
get him out of the soup, and then they go look outside, and it's now morning. So it took him the whole night to dump the soup out?
I think so.
Because it was dark, and then all of a sudden it's morning.
You know, when you're shooting on the weekends, Justin,
Right.
sometimes continuity is not
Goes to
in
the
your best
wayside.
interest.
Yeah. So, one
Kind
of
of
the
like when their
aliens...
haircuts change every once in a while, and you're like, yep.
I just
4
took
years.
it as they found when they released him, and then they hid out until morning so that they could escape. But
You
by
could do
that
that.
time, all the aliens had been deployed with guns around the property, so that's why they weren't in the house.
Right.
They
Right.
were, I think they were going to try to sneak out while everybody was still asleep, but then they woke up late.
Well, the one...
Yeah, they woke up late.
They're sneaking down the stairs, and one alien finds them. He turns around slowly and goes to shoot him, but they blast him. And now it's on. It's alien blasting time.
And the ones playing patty cake in the other room, they
Yeah.
are fucked. They just kick open the door and shoot both of those assholes.
Yeah. So now Derek's awake. That's the next thing we see after they shoot some aliens. There's lots of alien shooting for a while.
Back to...
Well, Derek, now that he's awake, where he found the top hat was apparently in a hidden car. The car that you're talking about,
Right.
with the chainsaw in it. That's the weirdest car that's ever existed. If anybody hears this and it can explain that vehicle to us, we would really like to know. Because it seems to me that there's the front seat, which has the Beatles in it, a cardboard cutout of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, I thought that was Yellow Submarine.
No, that's Sgt. Pepper's.
Huh.
And then Derek, to drive the car, you have to stand in the back.
Sit on this
Right.
really high chair.
Was there a chair?
Yeah, there's a
I
chair
thought
in
that
there.
they were
It
standing.
basically looked like a station wagon. They chopped off the back portion of that and then put another car part on top so that there was enough room for you to stand or sit or whatever in it.
I thought it would kind of look like an old ambulance.
I thought it looked like an ambulance or maybe like one of those camper vans, like one of those old very small camper vans.
Yeah.
That
Either
have
way,
the-
it was a weird, fucked
It
up
was a
looking
weird car.
Yeah.
But we're back at the house and Rick is going to town and shooting aliens and doing battle rolls and they're shooting at him and the aliens are the worst shots ever, obviously. They're shooting the ground everywhere. And Derek, or Ozzy, or Rick, sorry, he gets in a shootout with one in a tree. He's blasting the tree and
Nothing happens.
and then finally a guy falls out of the tree. And then another guy. And then another guy. And then another guy until 6 guys fall out of the tree.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was good.
pretty
That was a
funny.
good joke. And then, so Ozzy's by himself with Relief Fund guy on the balcony of the house. And he's getting in a fist fight with the cook. Ozzy
Right.
doesn't have a weapon, but the cook has a machete. And he's swinging it around and chopping. And Ozzy's always precariously about to die. But then... How does he get out of it? I know he eventually tosses the chef off of the balcony, but the Relief Fund guy gets captured because the guy puts a gun to his head.
Right.
But then there's another alien. Oh, another one of the aliens come up behind Ozzy, puts him in the headlock, and then right as the chef's about to chop Ozzy, he lifts his legs up,
And flips over the guy.
flips over
flips
the guy,
over him.
and the alien gets sliced in the tummy and his guts come out.
Yeah, he gets gutted.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then Ozzy kicks the chef.
I swear to God,
Off
they just
the
went to the
balcony.
butcher and were like, dude, what you got that you're not selling?
I know that there was a couple scenes where there was just like steaks. I saw steaks.
Yeah.
Some of the roadkill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was meat.
Blood and stuff.
So, so Derek shows up, and he's watching this battle go on outside, and there's bullets flying everywhere, and they're shooting, and they shoot through the fence, and they're shooting at Derek, and he starts doing a dance to avoid the bullets,
Right.
and then his hat comes off, his hat gets shot off, which then prompts his brains to come out again.
Right.
So what does he do?
Well, he
He stepped
can't-
on him for
can't
one.
function for one thing.
No, he's all spazzing out on the ground because his brains are out again.
Yeah.
So he gets a belt. He takes his belt off and buckles his head back together.
That's right. And then he's fine.
He's fine-ish. He steps on his brains that came out.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, shit, there's rocks in there now. I can't even use
Yeah, those
that.
brains are no good.
So he leaves him. He doesn't pick, which I thought was a smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime part of your brains fall out and they get too covered with dirt, you
Too
just
dirty.
let them go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's icky.
Too much to pick the rocks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Derek runs the guy over in half. He takes off in the car.
Right.
And he's driving and he sees
Oh.
a zombie or an alien.
Yeah.
Tacos him And the guy just comes apart.
But the best part about that scene, though, is that you don't know that he's been tacoed in half. All you see is, like, his intestines wrap around the front of the car and get dragged for a while. And you're like, oh, sweet!
That was a pretty good shot. I like that part.
Yeah.
That's when Derek gets out the chainsaw.
Right.
Because he's had enough of these bastards.
In the velvet box. Oh!
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, obviously, this group of guys have had adventures before, and something has allowed Derek to live with part of his brain's missing. So, like, they've been through the cult, they've been in space, they've been around the world, they probably got a submarine
Took
somewhere.
on the Nazis.
Exactly. So...
Maybe that's the part of his brain that was damaged with meth.
I don't know. Potentially.
It's no good.
However, that chainsaw, it's got to have some mystical power or magic or something, because he is able to do things with that chainsaw you cannot do with a normal chainsaw.
Epic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like carve his image into a door.
Well, it wasn't his image, really. It was... He
His
basically...
outline.
He cut an outline of
Perfect
himself.
Derek-shaped hole.
Perfectly.
I love that. That was funny.
That was good.
That was funny.
Which comes back into play a little later. But now Robert finally gets taken out because Ozzy hucks the machete at him and jabs him in the throat and gets stuck to the balcony post.
Right.
His feet are dangling off the ground. I like that part.
That was an epic shot because he just takes that thing and hucks it and it hits him right square in the head, lifts him up the ground, and he's impaled on that post.
Yep.
That was pretty neat.
Yeah, that was
a
neat.
good time. So the head alien's starting to run out of fast food workers.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are dying.
Which we learn later that they are level 3 citizens, which is pretty much, you're the dumb shit citizens.
Right.
And so all of those things I was saying about fast food workers, in the other galaxies, it's true, people. I'm not being judgmental. That's how it is in other galaxies too. Level 3.
I just want to...
Dipshits of the universe are at the
Crumb's Country Delights.
Crumb's Country Delights.
I just want to stop here for a second. If you're listening to the podcast right now and you are a fast food worker, don't feel really bad because we've all been fast food workers in our past. We've gone on to move... Well, I have anyway. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I still work at Jack in the Box.
Yeah, I worked at McDonald's. So it's like,
I worked at Dairy Queen. Does that count?
Yeah, that counts.
Okay,
so you'll
yeah,
survive,
we've done
you'll
it.
move on. We went on to further careers. You know, we all have private planes.
Not very far.
So anyway, let's go.
Not very far.
Private planes.
We're all living in the same trailer park. Oh, I mean...
I got rid of the plane and now I just have a spaceship.
Yeah, when I say private planes, I mean, you know, die-scale models. But anyway, let's move on.
I bought the Millennium Falcon last weekend. So Robert's finally dead. And the head alien is like, oh god, we're out of guys. So I guess to go into super battle action mode, he decides to transform to get rid of the human disguise.
Right.
He's hiding behind the bushes and he makes the call. Wah! And then we see their true forms, which are basically giant heads, giant bellies, and butts that don't fit in pants.
Right, and some shoulder blade action.
Because basically their bone structure elongates and it busts through the clothing and stuff, so you can see like...
But it kind of gives them a G-string effect in the back because their butt cheeks are hanging out and they just got this little string between their butt cheeks. Like,
It's just their butt cheeks that don't fit in pants.
Right.
It rips right through them.
Well, their elbows rip through the shirts too.
That's true.
Yeah.
And their shoulders.
Yeah.
so what does that tell you? Aliens have bad skin care. It's just rough and damaging. You wouldn't want to take one to bed. It would just scratch the hell out of you.
Well, I guess the boys have finally just had enough, and they think that they've killed enough aliens, and they got to get out of here. Well, they got the relief fund guy that they're trying to save.
Right.
So they head back to the car. They bail on the house. They shoot their way out.
I thought they were going for reinforcements or some shit.
Yeah, maybe they're going to get help, and so they go to the car, and they're making a sweet getaway in the car. But the aliens shoot up the engine of the car, and the car stops, and now they got to go on foot. Well, aliens are stupid, apparently. Because the aliens think the Falcon's pretty badass as well. So they get in it instead of chasing after the guys on foot. And they're pretending to drive the Falcon.
I think they were trying to drive it. They just couldn't figure it out.
I don't know. It reminded me of little kids that don't know how to drive and they get a new car and they just think that everything is awesome. They're like pushing buttons.
Yeah. Well, Ozzy's like, you know what? We can't let these guys live. We got to go back. So Ozzy gets the secret weapon out of the trunk of the Falcon, which
well, don't forget,
RPG.
he strips down from his commando outfit
back into his sweet tank top.
Back into his Richard Simmons tank top.
His bicep shirt.
Yeah. So now he's ready to
And
do those high kick, girls.
Didn't he get the weapon out before they got in the car?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I glazed over that part, I guess.
Yeah, plot details. We don't
So
need those.
there's some plot going on. Derek is currently carving up every alien he comes across.
Derek has showed up at the house, cuts his way perfectly into the house. Derek-shaped hole.
He gets in, starts slicing it up. So he's in the house. The other guys don't even know he's there.
No.
Yeah, they assume he's dead.
Yeah.
He fell off the cliff at the
Yeah,
beginning
Derek's
of the
still
movie.
dead.
Yeah, they don't know he's alive.
Fuck that guy.
Ozzy takes the RPG and blows up the Falcon in theory. I don't think they actually blew up that Falcon because they're worth quite a bit of money.
But
No,
they
they
built
like
up
it.
to it, though, because the aliens turned on the stereo with the music really
Yeah.
loud. It's heavy rock and metal, and you're like, that car's blowing up.
Yep.
And then he takes that out, and boom, and yeah. So
Ozzy explodes
epic.
it, and then he goes to the house, and he explodes the house.
Right.
And I swear to God, we watched that shot twice, that they launched a rocket at a house and blew it up.
It might have.
I would be really curious to know how that shot was shot, because it doesn't look like a model, because there's a guy's arm in the shot.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And
I
the
don't,
rocket
I don't know
launcher.
if it was an actual rocket. That
Could have been a football.
No, I mean, I don't believe it was a rocket that...
A rocket propelled grenade.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it was a rocket that hit the house, and then they triggered an explosion from inside the house.
Yeah.
I think
Still
that's what happened.
Great shot.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So he blows up part of the house, and Derek's now in there going, "Oh, Jesus!" He's chopping up guys, and he just starts whacking an alien with the chainsaw, and bits are flying everywhere.
Blood in the face, of course.
Blood in the
Yeah.
face.
Magical
half
cleaning.
a head, and then finally a torso and a hand, and then all that's left is his legs, which are still standing.
And he kicks it and knocks it over.
And then he kicks it square in the balls. For
That's
good
right.
measure.
That's right.
I love that part. So, but he's still missing brains because he stepped in his brains. So what does he do? He dives into the chopped up alien head, what's left of it, grabs some alien brains and stuffs it into the back of his head.
Right.
And it's way too much brains.
Right. He
Doesn't
really has to
fit.
shove it in.
Like he's just sticking his whole hand in the back of his head trying to cram these brains in there.
And he puts the belt back on.
He puts the belt back on. He's fully tanked up on brains.
Oh my god, it was a nice belt too. Just in case you're wondering, they did some close-ups of the belt. It was nice.
Well, apparently alien brains makes Derek go apeshit.
Yeah, because then he starts acting like a fucking monkey, like Planet of the Apes with a chainsaw.
They see him
Right.
and he's just mowing down guys, and they're like, "Jesus, Derek's going apeshit."
And they run away. She's like, oh shit, he's coming after us now.
Yeah, they're gone. Well, Ozzy gets shot as they're running away.
in the legs.
Yeah, in the legs. Rick gets the rocket launcher and picks it up and is like, "Screw you, aliens!" Shoots the last rocket propelled grenade
At the boss guy.
at the boss guy. Goes perfectly through a window without hitting anything. Past the boss guy, past Derek. Through the Derek-shaped hole, and then hits a sheep and explodes it.
That was cool.
That
was awesome.
was my number one favorite part of the movie.
I want to turn that into
Love
an
that.
animated GIF and then send it to everybody.
Oh, it's because the sheep looks up and he's like, "Eh?"
Boom.
Loaded sheep. That was great. Well, Derek's still in the house going apeshit by himself, and the alien.
Still being a fucking mouth breather, by the way. I'm still not letting that go.
The alien is like, "I gotta get the hell out of here. I got my people. The fast food supply. I'm out of workers." So he goes into like this
Control booth.
Control
there that
booth.
looks like some sort of steampunk that they built out of the house. It's like I'm not sure how they got to Earth. I don't think they got there in the house because I think they just converted the house into a spaceship afterwards. But he basically gets in there, closes the chamber door, gets on the radio and says, "Yeah, we got some good human parts here. We lost all our workers, but that's okay. Nobody cares. I'm coming home. See you in a little while."
Workers.
And then he
preps for launch,
and he presses the button, and it starts to roll up the lawn.
which
Which
Rick
was awesome.
which Rick and Ozzy are stuck on, and Ozzy can't get off because he's been shot.
Right.
So
He's almost gonna make it though.
yeah, he almost gets sucked up into the house.
It's true.
Rick comes and saves his ass, and then carries him off.
It's like the best camper. You know, if they could just make a camper caravan, you know, they would just unroll that green turf shit around your campsite, and then when you're ready to leave, you just hit the button and it rolls it back in. That would be fucking awesome.
It was pretty interesting, but although, up until that point it was a real lawn, but then when he pushed the button, it was that AstroTurf
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
And as it slid across the ground, there was regular lawn underneath
Perfect
it.
grass. So
Well, how are they going to account for that, really?
I don't know.
Well, they
pretty
finally
awesome, though.
launched the house, which also I don't know how they shot that shot because there was actual trees in that shot. It was not just a
Yeah, there
model.
was a tree that fell down.
Well,
Yeah.
no. When it actually you see it take off the earth, there was hills, mountains, not models. I don't know how they did half this stuff.
I
on a
was
budget.
wondering about the structural integrity of the house because it already had a big chunk blown
chunk.
out of it.
Yeah.
It's like, how's that an effective spaceship if
Yeah.
you got a big hole in the side? But
You're gonna get sucked out.
they didn't explain that
Hey,
at all.
These
At
guys.
30,000 feet, your ass is getting sucked out at 30,000 feet.
But it didn't
That's
happen.
why he had that seatbelt on that he could barely get.
Well,
got
Derek
out.
doesn't need a seatbelt.
He's got.
Derek
he's
apparently
a
doesn't
fucking
need
monkey
air.
paw at this point.
He doesn't
Yeah.
need air either.
He's just walking around like a goddamn primate, mouth breathing.
Oh no,
everywhere.
he's pissed.
He's walking around like he's a monkey.
He's
crouched
mad.
down.
He sticks his head out the window or looks out the window and sees Earth disappearing, and he's like, "Bastards!" So now he's on track to kill the main alien.
Right.
Yeah, he's mouth breathing his way into history here.
Yeah.
Barry and
Goddamn
Ozzy,
mouth
they're
breather.
basically getting in the car and going home. They're like, well, crap, the alien got away.
Yeah.
And they're like,
We're going to
"Wait,
have to go report in.
Derek! Derek's still in there. Well, Derek cuts a hole through the floor where the main alien, Lord Crumb, is looking for Derek because he hears the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And Derek just dives head first, chainsaw first,
From the ceiling,
from
the
the
holy
ceiling.
cud, straight down.
straight into the alien's head, chops all the way down out of his butt,
Right.
And then crawls out through his butthole.
crawls out through his chopped up butthole,
Covered in blood.
covered in alien.
And what does he say?
I was born
I
again.
was born again.
There you go, Christians. That's for you.
Apparently, I don't know.
Well, the house is still on its way to wherever its destination was.
Right.
And Derek is like, "I'm coming for you, bastards."
Yeah, he gets on the radio, which
Yep.
not a smart move. 'Cause now they know he's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he does
can't
put
stop
on.
Derek.
He does put on the head fast food guy's skin.
Yeah.
Like he's just wearing it like Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yeah,
Yep.
he's ready to go.
like Silence of the Lamb style.
Ready for action.
And then we see our intrepid team driving off with the relief worker guy.
Drive into the sunset.
Yep.
And they don't know that Derek killed that guy and stuff. They're just like, ah, crap.
Yeah.
But
They'll be back.
I'll be back.
No. Derek's gonna go and fuck up their planet.
Think so.
Race of...
You know, why
Guys,
didn't
big
Derek
head
do
butt
himself a
guys.
favor and throw out the boxes of human remains? They would
Do
have
who a
just
favor.
Earth.
Yeah.
You know, just like throwing out all the food and been like, I don't know what these guys were talking about. There is no human stuff here. And his fake skin thing that he was obviously going to fool people with, and he'd be
yeah.
like, I better go back down there and see what those third world workers were doing, and
Yeah.
then fly back down. And he's, you know,
Hey, I'm back, guys.
yeah, I'm ready to kick some more alien ass on the moon for number 2.
Yeah,
Well,
bad taste too.
let's contact Peter Jackson and have him make a sequel.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I'm pretty sure he'd just tell us to F ourselves.
I don't even think you can get a hold of Peter Jackson.
He's got a secretary now, Mark. Way too.
Well, I'm just going to take my private jet and fly over and talk to him.
If you stand on that, though, Mark, it'll break.
Well, you got a point.
All right, let's wrap this up. What's your favorite part of the film, Jackie?
I'm going to say the headbutt of the seagull.
Headbutting the seagull is pretty awesome.
That was my favorite part. I laughed really hard. I thought that was just hilarious.
It is funny. Just the idea of headbutting a seagull. When are you going to get the chance to ever headbutt a seagull? Like, when you get that chance, you got to take it.
Yeah, dude. Headbutting a seagull. That was awesome.
Right.
Mark?
I got to say, the rocket blowing up the sheep I thought was the funniest. That was the ed moment for me in the film.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I was like, that should be in every movie.
Yeah.
Innocent sheep gets it.
In terms of endearment, there's sheep blowing up.
Justin, what was your go-to moment?
Oh, it was the sheep.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Unquestionably. It was just too funny. Then shot so well.
So I'm thinking here that we're all a do.
Oh, I love this movie. I think
Yeah.
I'm going to bump
Wait,
this
I
movie
like-
into my Hall of Fame.
I'd like to try something here. Do.
All right. Dude.
Yeah.
Nice. So, one thing about this movie, though, it's like the whole movie, I was confused. I'm like, what is going to happen next? I don't understand. Are these zombies? Are they? So, if you're going to watch the movie, just let it go. Just enjoy the movie because you really will. You know, if you're like trying to figure it out, don't, because there's nothing to figure out.
Oh, I think that anybody who's going to
Nope.
watch this film is knowing looking at the cover with a big headed alien flipping the bird to them, I think that they're going to know what they're getting involved with.
All right, sounds good.
Now, they could get duped with the whole director of Lord of the Rings.
Right, exactly.
Oh, this might be good. And it is. It is amazing.
But just for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to know how much this film cost, because it had to have been like $10,000. Just not
It's
any
awesome,
money
is
behind
what it was.
at all.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really tell if they shot it over the weekends. Like, it looked like they had shot this movie
It's fairly
continuously.
cohesive. It's an achievement. I name another movie that could be done that way.
Yeah. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I was not expecting good things. I was like, oh, God. This is gonna be. It's on YouTube. This is gonna be another shit show. And the only thing I did not like about this movie was Derek the mouth breather
And the puke.
and the puke scene. But you know what though? But I can respect that puke scene though, because it was like, it's so fucking gross that
It's
I
over
can't
the top
watch
gross.
it.
Yeah, it's over the top gross.
And so I'm okay with it, but I don't want to watch it. Like, you guys just tell me when that scene's over.
All I could think of was you had your head under the blanket because you didn't watch it, and I was watching that, and I was looking at the little look like Lucky Charms in there, and I'm just like, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
I don't think we're going out better than that. Get to the chopper.
Get to the chopper!